equipped or you are ill-equipped from your existing experiences to cope with a new way of thinking. And I want to talk to you today about how many keynote speakers at events will say to you, what you should do is go back to your desk and innovate. You should innovate. And everyone goes back to their desk and thinks, I'll innovate. But what do I actually do? And so I want to talk today about the dangers of living in this linear world that we all think we live in. And then I want to talk about what we can do both individually and as a organizational culture to cope with these accession event changes. See, one of the problems that businesses and organizations do is they steer by their wake. Every day they wake up and they go, next year will look just like this year, but 10% better. That's what Nokia thought. That's when the CEO of Nokia, when the iPhone came out, said, oh, it's a bit part of the market, 2% of people buy it, doesn't matter. 18 months later, his whole business is down. If at any point you think that the answer to your business problem is, or your educational problem, or any problem you've got is working harder, you're going to fail. An MBA has a problem. You've gone to an Ivy League school, you spent $200,000 on an education, they've told you what to think. You don't want to go out and think again. You want to impress upon the rest of the world all the ideas that you've come up with that weren't yours and came out of a tenured professor who's been there 15 years, and what the answer is has changed. But now, I'm sure many of you have thought to yourself, why does Police Academy 5 exist? I think most of the actors did during the filming, you can kind of tell. The reason is because, as Mr. Mayer of MGM said in the 1920s, no one knows what works. A specialist is a person who knows more and more about less and less until they know everything about nothing. The problem is that most innovation happens in the gaps between subjects. You see, we all like the idea, many of us do, I like the idea of being a Renaissance man. I'd like to be Benjamin Franklin. I'd like to be one of the top scientists in the world on everything. Well, I can't, because there's so much to know now that what we end up doing is becoming ever more blinkered. And organizations do it, so they become ever more blinkered into a way of thinking. So I would argue that there's more usefulness for organizations to have generalists.